This is Guyana, on the northern coast of South America. A little over 800,000 people live here. Venezuela, its western neighbor, claims everything on this side of the Essequibo River. That is about 2/3 of the country. The sea off this coast holds one of the biggest oil finds in decades. It has made Guyana the fastest growing economy in the world. In May, the International Court of Justice, the United Nations court that settles disputes between states, finished hearing arguments from both countries. The judges are deciding now, and Venezuela's acting president has already told them her country will not recognize a decision against it. The court's rulings are binding, but it has no army to enforce them. So what happens to a border when the side that loses simply says no? The line was drawn in Paris in 1899 by a tribunal of 5 men. 2 of them were British judges, 2 were Americans arguing Venezuela's case, and the chairman, Friedrich Martens, was a Russian law professor. No Venezuelan sat on the panel. The tribunal gave Britain nearly all of the disputed territory. Venezuela got the mouth of the Orinoco River. The written award describes where the line runs and gives no reasons for it. Venezuela accepted, and a joint commission marked the border on the ground in 1905. 50 years later, one of Venezuela's own lawyers reopened the question. In a memorandum published after his death, Severo Mallet Prevost wrote that the award had come from a political deal between Britain and Russia, and that the American judges accepted it under pressure. That account was written decades after the fact, and historians still argue over it. Even so, Venezuela's whole argument that the award is void rests on that memorandum. In 1966, months before Guyana's independence from Britain, the 2 sides signed an agreement in Geneva. It left the question of who owns Essequibo open and set out a process for answering it. 60 years on, the 2 countries still read that process differently. Venezuela says it requires a negotiated deal. Guyana says it let the United Nations send the dispute to the World Court. That is what happened in 2018. For decades, the claim mostly lived on maps. Venezuelan maps stripe the region as a zone in reclamation. On the ground, about 125,000 people live there under Guyanese administration, in villages and small towns spread through the rainforest. The discovery changed what the claim is worth. An ExxonMobil-led consortium struck oil in 2015, and production began in 2019. By this February, Guyana was pumping about 918,000 barrels a day. In December, its output overtook Venezuela's, a country with the largest proven oil reserves on Earth. And sea rights follow the coastline. A different owner for the Essequibo coast would put much of that sea in dispute as well. The economy grew by more than 40% in 2024, and the fund holding the state's oil revenue passed $4 billion this spring. Most wages are still a few $100s a month, though, and Guyanese politics now argues mainly over how the oil money should be spent. In December 2023, Venezuela's government put the claim to a referendum and reported more than 10 million votes in favor. Reporters at polling stations saw a quiet day, though, and few believed the official count. Days earlier, the World Court had ordered Venezuela not to alter the situation on the ground while the case ran. 2 weeks after the vote, the 2 presidents met on St. Vincent and agreed there would be no force. Venezuela pressed the claim by other means. In 2024, its National Assembly created a Venezuelan state called Guyana Essequibo on paper. The court ordered Venezuela 12 votes to 3 not to hold elections for that state. Venezuela held them anyway and declared a governor for territory it does not control. At sea, a Navy patrol vessel approached an oil production ship and radioed that it was in Venezuelan waters. And on the border rivers, Guyanese soldiers have come under fire. Who fired has never been established. Then the government making the claim was itself removed. In January, United States forces entered Venezuela and captured President Nicolás Maduro. He now faces trial in New York. The claim did not leave with him. His former vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, is acting president, and she led Venezuela's delegation to the court in May. Even the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, backs the claim itself. Her quarrel was with the method. She wanted it pressed at the court rather than by referendum. At the hearings, Guyana asked the judges to confirm the 1899 line and said it will accept their decision either way. Venezuela argued the award was void from the beginning and that the court has no jurisdiction. It will not recognize the outcome, whatever that is. No date for the judgment has been announced. Guyana's government expects it could come as early as November. Rulings between states are binding. Enforcement is a different matter, because it runs through the United Nations Security Council, and the Council seldom acts. In 1986, the court ruled that the United States had broken international law in Nicaragua. The United States rejected the judgment and blocked enforcement. The ruling was never carried out. So the ruling alone moves no soldier and no boundary post. It settles which of the two maps is right in law and raises the cost of ignoring that. West of the Essequibo River, the line has held for more than a century. The court will soon say whether it holds. Whether it holds on the ground is a decision no court can make.